Hello, ladies and gentlemen, the American German Bulldog Nation. I'm at the studio where I've done the Eric Deters show and the sports show and the pop culture show and the local news show. And Jamie's done his world news. And I'm doing a Facebook Live at the desk with the green screen. And this past week, a lawsuit has been filed in the Ohio Board of Claims on behalf of the Durrani victims for $150 million. And I would like to explain this in some detail, and we'll see if the Ohio media covers it. We'll see if the national media covers it. And I want to explain this to you. Let's begin with this principle. The states, Kentucky and Ohio, for example, and I'm assuming every state, has what's called a Board of Claims Court. And what that Board of Claims Court is for is to allow lawsuits against the state for damages. Generally, states have immunity unless they allow you to sue them. So, for example, if a state transportation worker were to run over you or cause a crash, there's immunity attached to that, but you can bring it in Ohio Board of Claims. They limit these claims to $300,000. The statute which sets up the Ohio Board of Claims states very clearly that it includes the Ohio Supreme Court as well. Now, judges have absolute immunity. So if a judge makes a mistake on your case, my case, or whatever, you can't sue the judge. They have immunity. And that immunity comes from their judicial function. That's what it comes from. Now, here is what this lawsuit is all about. The Ohio Supreme Court sets rules for themselves. They are called the Ohio Rules of Superintendents. Those rules of Ohio Rules and Superintendents include a rule, I think it's Rule 42C, that says every lawsuit that is filed in the state of Ohio that is considered complex litigation has to be resolved in 3 years. When the Durrani litigation started in 2013, it was only 2 years. They changed it to 3 years, which means that if you file a lawsuit, it's got to be over with in 3 years. It's called termination. Now, the Ohio Supreme Court, led by Maureen O'Connor, and now recently, in the past year, Sharon Kennedy, because O'Connor resigned, have not properly followed their own rule in the Durrani cases. So there was over 500, there's 580 Durrani victims, 500 cases that are filed. And I can tell you, because I've been there from the beginning, none of the cases were resolved through trial in 3 years of filing. As I am talking to you right now, over 200 cases still need to be tried. So think about that. 10 years later, 200 cases still need to be tried. And they have a rule of 3 years. And these were designated as complex litigation in 2013 by Judge Guy Guckenberger. Now, what did we do? Did Deters Law, then Fagan Law, and Drake Law, and yours truly sit back and take that? No. We filed a petition of all the Durrani victims. I shouldn't have filed a petition of all the Durrani victims against Maureen O'Connor, filed in the Supreme Court. We sent her a petition. She ignored it. We filed what's called a writ of mandamus, ordering them to give these people their trials. They ignored it. We asked for group trials over and over and over. Judge Reese, God love him, who's trying the cases, is now trying them in groups of 3. Good for him. He's trying. We asked for more judicial resources. Nothing. We asked them to be applied to more judges. Nothing. We filed a federal lawsuit under the 7th Amendment saying, just like there should be a speedy trial under the 6th Amendment for a criminal case, there needs to be a speedy trial. The federal judge said, sorry, I can't help you. It's an Ohio State issue. We have literally tried every possible thing to solve this problem from the victim's end. Ignored, shut down at every turn. Judge Ruhlman was going to try the cases back in 2016 and 2017 in large groups. They would have been all over with in 2017, 7 years ago. Maureen O'Connor took the cases away from him. This has been a nightmare. Now, let me put this in context. You can't make this up. If you filed a lawsuit in Hamilton County Common Pleas or any Common Pleas court in the state of Ohio in 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, it's over with. It's over with. But not Durrani victims. The Durrani victims have been penalized for Durrani committing intentional and medical malpractice negligence on unnecessary spine surgeries 580 plus times. It's insane. It's wrong. What happens during these delays? It costs the law firm $2 million a year to keep it going. Experts, their circumstances change. Victims die. Nearly 100 Durrani victims have died. And any lawyer will tell you that when you die and you go to court, you don't get as much money as if you're alive and well and suffering. So they gain the advantage. Medical Protective, there's a fraud case against Medical Protective that's going to go to trial in April. Medical Protective has not made a single offer on one of these cases. It's almost like the Ohio Supreme Court and the state of Ohio is a co-conspirator against the victims for Medical Protective. It is crazy. It's nuts. It's nuts. So one of the lawyers on the Durrani victims team, Phil Cameron, on my recommendation and suggestion, it was my idea as a consultant, has filed a claim in the Ohio Board of Claims against the state of Ohio for the Ohio Supreme Court's intentional negligence in not giving these people their trials as they should. It is, without a doubt, rock solid, simple, straightforward negligence. And furthermore, the argument is, and research has been done on this by the law firm, is the Supreme Court giving these people their trials is not a judicial function. It is an administrative function. It's not the same as Judge Reese setting these cases for trial. In the history of law in this country, this is one of the most sick, grievous injustice ever perpetrated upon victims of a fleeing felon in the history of American law. Will the Columbus Dispatch report this? Will a single television station in Cincinnati report this? Will a single newspaper in Ohio report this? Will the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Washington Post, somebody report this? Can you imagine you or a member of your family having an unnecessary spine surgery by a doctor who's indicted and you're sitting around 10 years later after your lawsuit is filed, and they tell you, well, we can't give you your trial. You can't make this up. The lawyer for Durrani, paid for by Medical Protective, told a judge once, he goes, well, Judge, the problem is there's just too many cases. Hamilton County Common Pleas there was 14, nearly 15 Hamilton County Common Pleas judges. The judges all had all the cases and were moving him forward. And Maureen O'Connor took them away from 15 judges and gave them to one judge. Maureen O'Connor received $3 million over her legal career from health insurance companies, big law firms, doctors, hospitals, so forth and so on. If you are a normal, rational human being in America, much less in Ohio, Kentucky, or whatever, and you're watching this video, ask yourself this question. How can this be allowed to happen? I went to jail for contempt for 8 days, got sentenced to 15. I spent 8 days. You know what the issue was? Me holding a press conference bitching about this issue all the way back in 2018. Nothing. He said I was talking about the cases violating the gag order. I said, no, I'm not, Judge Schweikert. I'm arguing for the fact that you haven't done your job. By the way, Judge Schweikert refused group trials even. It's sick. And nobody gives a damn. The Cincinnati business community doesn't give a damn. The Cincinnati media community doesn't give a damn. The Ohio court system doesn't give a damn. Nobody gives a damn except me. It's unbelievable. Jerry, don't worry about my health. I'm 60 years old and have perfect health. Maybe, Jerry, more people ought to get upset when there's freaking injustice in the world. This is my cause for a decade, folks. And I'll keep fighting that battle. We'll see what the Ohio Board of Claims does. But it is, oh, by the way, it's very political. You know who has the power to do something about this? Mike DeWine, the governor. Yost, the attorney general. The Board of Claims. It's very political. You ready for this? This really pisses me off. Ohio settled like this. With a coach who touched athletes improperly. By the way, wasn't boinking them, touching them like, ooh, he touched my inner thigh. I think it was like 500 people. These are people that have had an unnecessary spine surgery, are in pain every freaking day, not touched improperly. Ohio like this in a year. $500 million, I think it was, paid out. One day, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I can tell you what's going to happen. One day, the national media is finally, and I can't wait, it's going to happen. It's going to be somebody in Hollywood, New York, going to say, what the hell? This story's crazy. And it's finally going to go kaboom. In April, there's going to be $1 billion, and I'm not kidding you, $1 billion verdict against Medical Protective for healthcare, for fraud. Medical Protective, owned by Berkshire Hathaway and Warren Buffett, are about ready to get thumped. Meanwhile, we keep trying and winning these cases, millions and millions of dollars. Justice is coming, just like Wyatt Earp said. Justice is coming, and hell will follow. It's unbelievable. 10 years, and there's 200 people still freaking waiting. Sick.